So I was going to buy a portable SSD like this, and I had known about these separate SSD enclosures, but I just thought that these will be too finicky to deal with and that buying a complete product will be better. But after some research, I just found that getting an internal SSD with an enclosure is just so much better. So let's discuss why that is. The biggest reason to get your SSD separately is that you actually know what SSD you are buying. For example, I got this WD-SN770, which is a very good gaming SSD, and you can find detailed reviews on it with details like NAND flash structure and brand. When you buy something like this from SanDisk, you don't know what SSD they are giving you inside, and they generally don't give you a very good quality SSD because you are just going to be limited by the USB 3.1 speeds, which is 10 Gbps, which brings us to our next point, speed. The SSD that you are going to get in a portable SSD doesn't have to be faster than the 10 Gbps limit of the enclosure, and 10 Gbps is not even the basic speed of a PCIe SSD. This WD SSD has a speed of 50 Gbps, and you will of course be limited by the maximum speed of your enclosure, but just in case you decide to put this into a computer, you will get maximum speed possible. This flexibility is another positive of getting an enclosure separately, because you can just use an old SSD from your PC with your enclosure, and if you decide that you don't need a portable SSD, you can just put it in your PC. This enclosure from Pibox supports both SATA and NVMe SSD, so even my older SATA SSDs will work with it. With a portable SSD, you may have to break the enclosure to take the SSD out, and in many cases that will not even be possible because the NAND flash chips are not attached to a standard M.2 SSD board. If your SSD enclosure stops working, then you can just change that with a setup like this, but that may not always be possible with a portable SSD. It's also possible to upgrade the enclosure and get higher speeds. We already have 40 Gbps SSD enclosures in the market now, and once they come down in price, I can just upgrade my enclosure and increase my transfer speeds by 4 times, so I can make full use of the SSD that I purchased. This Pibox enclosure that I got is also very good in quality with nice heat sinks and a thermal pad, and most portable SSDs have a shell that is made out of plastic, so you are not going to get a proper heat dissipation with those. They also give you all kinds of accessories that you will need along with this very nice carrying case, so this has been a really great purchase. You can also use SSDs of all sizes with an enclosure like this, so if you have a smaller SSD from a laptop or a gaming device, that can also be used here. Do give this video a thumbs up if you are liking it so far. Now you may think that with all of these advantages, an internal SSD with an enclosure is going to cost more, but even that is not the case. I got this setup for a total of around 7,000 rupees, and the price difference may vary a lot because of different factors, but you can even save more money by going with a cheaper internal SSD. So with all of that said, I really don't think that there is any point of buying a ready-made portable SSD unless you are getting it for really cheap. I'll have links to check some enclosures in the description. Let me know if you still think that there is an advantage if you buy a portable SSD. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.